me see. Mic check. 1, 2. We on? We are on. Cool. Hey, what's up, y'all? And welcome to the 33rd episode of Trippin with Theobold. I'm your host, Andre Theobold. And for all my new listeners, the show is called Trippin with Theobold for two reasons. All right? I be tripping in speech and I trip in thought. I literally trip in speech, you know what I'm saying? I grew up with a speech impediment. It's not all the way gone yet. So when I have a hiccup, I'll just be like, come on, Dre. And then I move on with life, right? And then it's also called Tripping with Theobold because I trip figuratively in thought. Like I have a lot of crazy ideas, crazy questions. So hence the name Tripping with Theobold. Before I go any further, I want y'all to do me a favor, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? Tell a friend to tell a friend. But before I move on, I have some very exciting news. I am no longer at 47 subs. I am now at Roosevelt Leaks number of subs. So shout out to the new sub that tuned in and signed up to watch my channel. You know, I am now at Roosevelt Leaks number of subs. In case you guys don't know, I'm a huge Buffalo Bills fan. And I'm trying something different. You know, what I'm doing is, I'm taking the jersey number of players for the Bills in the past, and I'm kind of like giving them a shout out, you know, I'm giving them a shout out in correspondence with the number of subs that I have, you know what I'm saying? So, last week, I believe, last week I was at 47 subs, who was Kirby Jackson. And as you guys know, Kirby Jackson was a defensive back for the Bills during the Super Bowl era. Now Roosevelt Leaks, you know, number 48, he's before my time, man. I think he played for the Bills like in the early 80s, like 83. I'm saying he's a fullback or running back. But nonetheless, you know what I'm saying? I'm at Roosevelt Leaks number of followers. I mean subs, because this isn't Instagram. This is YouTube. YouTube has subs, not followers. If you tell a friend to tell a friend, maybe I'll get to Tremaine Edmonds' number of subs. You know what I'm saying? So once again, man, thanks. Shout out to y'all for listening. Thanks for tuning in. But let's go ahead and move forward. Oh, I forgot my normal introduction. You know, I'm Andre Theobold. I go by AT. I go by Driggity. I go by Dre Theo. I go by the Oh So Bold. And I probably have more nicknames yet to come. So welcome to the show. All right. So got a lot to talk about today, man. So I'm gonna try to be brief. I'm gonna try to be short, but you know, it is what it is. And I am a little bit beyond the 2-minute mark, so I can talk this shit like the way I want to talk this shit. Kinda. Right? So let's go and get into the promo part of the show. So as y'all see, I got my Canisius College basketball camp shirt on. I didn't go to Canisius College. I went to the basketball camp. If you don't know, Canisius College is in Buffalo, New York. When I was in my hoop dream era, when I thought I was gonna make it to the NBA, you know, all 5'5" of me, you know, when I thought I was gonna make it to the NBA, my mom found a way to send me to Canisius College basketball camp to help fuel my dreams that fell short. But nah, man, I miss these days, man. You know, one of the coaches, so I'm about to date myself. So if y'all want to know kind of how old I am, Coach Beeline was the coach of Canisius College. If you know Coach Beeline coached West Virginia for a hot minute. Then he coached Michigan. So I think he's more known with Michigan and West Virginia. And then he coached the Cleveland Cavaliers for a quick minute. And then had some hiccup. And I think, I'm not sure if he lost his job because of the hiccup or because of just, you know, having a bad season or a bad year. But anywho, man, these were some of my like fun days, man. You know, just dreaming. You know, I would go to bed dreaming that I was going to make it to the NBA with a shoe deal and, you know, skip college, you know. I did everything, man. I did everything I could, man. I did the Pistol Pete homework, basketball, teaching tapes. I did everything, man. You know, I watched Hoop Dreams, analyzed that movie to see where they made their mistake at, so I don't make the same mistake. I did everything, man. You know, and it just wasn't cut out for me. You know, it wasn't in my cards. You know, but I'm still glad that I had the opportunity to go for the ride. But man, these were some of my favorite days, man. I remember I would go to Kenesha's, like I would get dropped off in the morning. You go in this little you go to the school and you do like drills and stuff in the morning. Then you do like cardio, then you would hoop, have coaches watch a game. They would coach you up, you know, and they always had a good lunch, you know what I'm saying? I remember every Friday after, or maybe like every other day after Kenesha's camp, when either my grandma or my mom would pick me up, man, we go right to Ted's Hot Dogs. Now, I know some of y'all DC motherfuckers, man, y'all don't mess with glizzies and shit, you know, and y'all cut y'all hot dogs into fours and shit. But, man, you go to Ted's, man. You go to Ted's, man. I'm telling you, man, Ted's Hot Dogs, man, is where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, let me go ahead and talk about some other stuff, man. Shout out to, this is a little simple promo. Shout out to Independent Trading Company. This is just a regular black hoodie. I just Googled it. Independent Trading Company. It's a regular black hoodie. Because I have a lot of artsy hoodies, but this is a regular, good fitting hoodie. A lot of hoodies like either feel cheap or they feel weird. This actually fits nice. You know, I'm trying to get some of this extra weight up off me. You know what I mean? So this hoodie kind of like hides all that, you know, while I'm in the process of it. But nah, man, shout out to these people here, man. Good hoodie. I like it. Basic, simple. Now I'm doing something a little different, all right? Now this is kind of a diss, all right? So, don't have a company name, but the lesson, so sorry if it's kind of like noisy and shit, right? But I felt like this was the perfect opportunity to reveal this or to show this. But never order toilet paper in the beginning of a pandemic, man. You know, like I remember when the pandemic first started, I was going to Target. I was driving around trying to find toilet paper, man. Like people lost their mind trying to get toilet paper, man. And I had like a couple rolls left, but I was panicking. I was like, man, how am I going to take a boo-boo during this pandemic? You know what I'm saying? And I went on Amazon, and this cost me like $40, if not more, for this shit. And I haven't opened it because I can feel the toilet paper right now, and this toilet paper is pretty shitty. And not only that, I didn't get this until like almost a year later, right? No, I'll take it back. I got it like 4 months later. Sorry, I'm lying. I got this like 4 months later. I ordered it in April at the height of the pandemic, April 2020. And then I was like, man, how am I gonna take a boo-boo? You know? And then like once I found some toilet paper somewhere else, I tried to cancel this. And right when I tried to cancel it on Amazon, these motherfuckers, it automatically mysteriously showed up in my mailbox. So I think they were watching this shit. They were like, yo, can we just get this dude's money for free? And if he about to cancel, we gonna try to send him anything. So I'm gonna open this up and show y'all how shitty this toilet paper is. All right, so pardon the noise. But look at this shit. Look at this shit. This shit is terrible. This is like, it's like, I'm not sure if you guys can see with respect to what this is, but this is like gauze. Like, my wrist, this is like, toilet paper is supposed to be like thicker than your wrist, man. This shit is as thick as my wrist. So, lesson learned, don't buy toilet paper during the pandemic. All right. Now, I don't know what I'm even gonna do with this. Whatever. Don't do this shit. All right. All right. Cool. That's that. So, next order of business. most important order of business is you see my background? This is a 6888. All right, this is the all black, all women's Army battalion that went overseas to serve during World War II. And it's Women's Month, so I said, hey, this is perfect opportunity to put it up there. And not only that, Congress finally voted on getting these women their Congressional Medal of Honor. All right. Yeah, I feel kind of, I mean, one, I'm grateful for it. So, I mean, like shout out to Edna Cummings and Liz and all the people around that like spearheaded this to make sure that this got done. But they shouldn't have had to have done all that, man. You know, like these women behind me were the internet of World War II. All right, like a lot of people say, oh, they just went over there and they just sorted mail. Nah, they went over there. They had bombs dropping around them. They could smell concentration camp smells all around them and stuff. And they worked round the clock to make sure that all of the mail and all the packages got to the soldiers. You know what I'm saying? Like, no mail, low morale. Think about it, right? You overseas fighting, right? And you don't hear back from your chick or someone that you married to, you know, and you think that they done moved on and started, you know, boning the milkman, and them and the milkman got a family now. You know what I'm saying? So now he's like, man, why am I fighting? You know, so these women behind me were the internet of World War II. You know, so yesterday they had the vote to give these women their propers and to give them their Congressional Medal of Honor. So I'm definitely like thankful and grateful for that. And also, yeah, my grandma's in this joint. My grandma is right there. See, looks just like me. See that? Yeah, that's grandma right there. So, you know, I wish she was here to see it. It would have been dope if, you know, they could have voted a little sooner so my grandma could have seen it. But I mean, it wasn't in the cards. But yeah, like I said, I feel kind of weird about it because it's like we're coming out of a pandemic and possibly going into World War III, and they just getting their medals or just getting their Congressional Medal of Honor, you know? So, I mean, America got to do better, man. That's all I'm going to say about that. You know, when people go off and serve and fight and get their life up for this country, man, y'all got to make sure you honor these people, man, you know, in due time, like not 100 years later. It's basically 100 years later, you know? So, but nah, shout out to the 6888, shout out to, you know, my mom and Edna and Liz for really like pushing this forward. I think this is a big move. They have all kind of things. I can't say too much, but they have a lot of things in the works. So you will be hearing about the 6888 in the upcoming years. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this background up, man, because it's a dope background. You know what I'm saying? So this is my theme for the show. You know what I'm saying? So what else we got going on, man? I think I'm going to jump and talk about, what am I going to talk about? Let's talk about some news stuff first. So in the world of comedy, right? I'm going to get back on this again. I'm going to jump back on this. But T.I. and Godfrey, you know what I'm saying? It's no beef. It's no beef. They're just having I don't know how to put it. Like, it's definitely not beef, you know what I'm saying? But it definitely needs to be talked about, you know? So so as you guys may or may not have known, there's some back and forth going on between T.I. and Godfrey. I think there's been about four videos about this directly from their mouth, not from all the other people like me or other YouTubers like talking about it. But first, basically, long story short, Godfrey was headlining a club in Atlanta. T.I. popped in. Basically, knew the owner of the building. They were doing business, and the owner of the building wanted to see T.I. do comedy. So T.I. asked the promoter for the show that Godfrey was on or that Godfrey was headlining, if he could go up after him. Then Godfrey went up after him. I'm sorry, T.I. went up after Godfrey. Then there were some pleasant exchanges. Then after that, Godfrey made a video that was it wasn't even critical. It was just his honest opinion about things, and T.I. felt that he threw some shade at him. So then T.I. made a video, and then Godfrey came back and said, no, it's not shade, and this is why it's not shade, and this, that, and the third. And then after that, they had I think Godfrey invited T.I. on his podcast, and they talked, and that probably boosted up Godfrey's numbers because, you know what I'm saying, T.I.'s a superstar. And then I want to talk about that I want to talk about that latest video that came out where Godfrey had T.I. on his podcast. Like, the thing was, to me, it was very interesting. It was how should I put it? I could tell that T.I. was kind of in his feelings, and Godfrey was like having fun with the situation. So underneath, you could kind of tell that Godfrey was kind of like, no, you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. He was kind of, you could kind of tell he was getting a little frustrated, but he's such a brilliant comedian that he knows how to like put funny on top of serious to get his point across, you know? So with that being said, my thing is this, right? Is there's nothing wrong with what T.I. is doing. I'm not against it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just the thing that I kind of have trouble with is how he's coming to terms with his expectations, you know? So at the end of the day, whatever power you have to jump the line to get to wherever you got to go, do that shit. You know what I'm saying? If you're an attractive chick and you bad and all the promoters want to, you know, get in your drawers and, you know, and you give them the illusion that that's a possibility so you can hustle your way on a show, do that shit. You know what I'm saying? If you're a superstar like T.I. and, you know what I'm saying, people respect your name and all this and that third, and you can jump on do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not knocking nobody's hustle for how you get on the show. Not knocking that, right? But what I will say is at the end of the day, the product got to be the product, right? I don't care how attractive you are. I don't care how much star power you have. If you get up on that stage and your set is some cheeks, people gonna let you know, and you really can't get mad. I mean, you can, but you're gonna look stupid, you know? So, that's kind of like how like I feel about all that. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you got to be able to take criticism. And in comedy, like I said in my last video, comedy is the most disrespected art form. Like, everyone thinks they can do it. They don't take it serious. They don't see the work that goes into it. And then it's the job of the comedian to give you the illusion that it takes no work. And then when people come to shows, people heckle and think that they helping, and they're really not, you know? So that's just the game, you know? But like I said, I'm not here to knock anyone's hustle. I mean, if that's, at the end of the day, the product has to be the product, you know? Like you said, the product has to be the product, man. You know, like you have to be about the product. Or you don't have to. You can get on stage and do whatever. But I mean, if people say, there's the thing, right? I done been through a lot in comedy. I'm not saying like I've been through the most, but man, I had people come to my face, tell me I ain't funny. Nigga, your set was trash. Boo, get him off stage. I've had I had a dude that was jokingly saying he was gonna shoot me. This dude named Lou back in Iowa, man. This dude was funny. Like, he was a big swole dude, man. And Lou, like I said, Lou was no dude you messed around with. You know what I'm saying? But I remember I was at the club passing out flyers to host this show, this big comedy show I was on when I was like 3 weeks into comedy, you know. And when I handed out the flyer at this club, you know, Lou was like, he's like, man, He's like, man, your ass look funny, man. Like, you got them frog eyes. He said, man, you better make me laugh, motherfucker. He said, man, if I come to your show and you ain't funny, I'm going to shoot your ass. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm thinking, and he's like joking, but I'm like, man, he could be serious, you know? And this was like my first major show. I was up there hosting the show. And man, I got up there, I forgot every last joke. It's like I would start a joke and then be like, oh man, I forgot. You know, and people started like laughing. Cause at first I thought it was part of the act, but then I did that shit like throughout the whole show. I was starting a joke and I would forget. And then afterwards, Lou saw me after the show. He said, man, I was laughing my ass off, man. I wasn't laughing. He's like, man, I was laughing at you. He was like, man, you better be lucky you made me laugh, man, because, man, you was terrible. He's like, man, if I had my gun on me, I would have shot your ass. So I done heard all type of shit, man. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, when you get in this comedy game, you can't let people's words or actions deter you from what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, if you're in this for the craft of comedy and you're trying to really do this, like, you have to make sure that your shit is undeniable. But rule number one in comedy, man, is you got to make shit funny, man. You know, like funny heals all, right? So in the interview, like for like 90% of the interview with T.I. and Godfrey, T.I. was in his feelings. He was kind of like, you know, you could tell he was kind of upset. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell, not upset, but he was in his feelings, you know. But to me, it's like, and Godfrey was making this shit funny. So to me, it's like, if you're trying to get into comedy and take it seriously, this was an opportunity for him to really just flip the shit and make it funny, right? And towards the end of the video, T.I. kind of caught on. Like, he kind of started saying shit that was kind of outrageous, but it was funny. Like, he was like, you know, he's like, yeah, well, I'm gonna hit you when we go on tour next week or something like that. And that's funny. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, but yeah, man, this comedy game is rough, man. Like, I didn't drove 7 hours to do a B room in front of 10 people. I done cried in my car a couple times, man, because shit wasn't working out. I mean, if you in it, man, you got to be in it, and you got to know what to expect, you know. And that's what I want to talk about too, man. It's like, anytime I start something new, or whenever I go into like a new organization, I'm grateful for my experiences with, you know, my walk-on football experience at Temple University. Yeah, my little ass tried to walk on the Temple's football team. I was a walk-on for about a year, but I didn't make it onto the team. And this was back when we were in the Big East, like back when we played against Miami, like the U Miami. We played against Miami, we played against Pitt, we played against Rutgers. Who else was in the Big East back then? West Virginia, Pitt, Boston College. Who else was in it? Boston College, Miami, VTech, back when they had Michael Vick. You know, and the U back then, this is when the U had, you know, Clinton Portis and Ethnic Sands. Well, people don't know about Ethnic Sands, but he was like, basically he was like Roscoe Parrish. Like most people know who Roscoe Parrish is, but like Ethnic Sands was the one that was like doing damage back at the U, as well as Roscoe Parrish. Then who else was there? Willis McGahee was there. Like, this was a big era, man. You know what I'm saying? So this was like, we were playing against like top-notch people that's all in the NFL, that made it to the NFL. So I was trying to walk onto the football team. And my mindset when I was walking onto the football team was, I know that if I go here, if I go here and succeed, I'm going to displace somebody. And you have coaches that went to families' houses and looked parents in the eye and said, I'm going to take care of your kid, and your kid is going to make it to the NFL, or they're going to get their education. And I knew what I was up against, you know. So I was prepared for the worst. Like, I was prepared for people to, like, you know, shun me out. I was prepared for just being told or being made felt like I didn't belong. But to my surprise, it was a family. It was a community. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all were competing, but we all wanted to we all wanted the best version of ourselves out there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we all wanted, you know? So that was a dope experience, you know? But that's not all experiences, you know? Cause like my track experience wasn't like that, you know? Like for the most part, I mean, I felt welcomed or whatever, but there was a few people that were on the team that were captains that were on scholarship or whatever. And they made sure that I didn't get a speed suit every week. You know, like they had, they had N people on the track team and N-1 speed suits. You know, and every week they made it a point. This person made it a point to say, "Hey Dre, hey Theobold, you don't get a speed suit. You're not fast enough." Okay, cool. So I had to go out there with the little booty shorts on and shit. And I made this shit work though. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I didn't go in expecting them to welcome me with welcoming arms, right? So whenever you go to an organization or you get into a field of something, you can't expect people to welcome you with opening arms. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like that's just my mindset going into anything. No matter how famous I get, no matter what it is, you know? But yeah, nah, man. But like I said before, man, when it comes to comedy, you know, when the name and the fame and the looks all wear off, yo, you gotta have jokes, man, you know. And if your product is not where it needs to be at, people gonna let you know. And if you don't like it, you know, too bad. And that's the last thing I'm gonna say about this, right? So, like I heard T.I. say before in his interviews that he said, or in his videos that he put out, he said that he's not a comedian, he's a superstar, but yet he takes the craft of comedy serious, you know. So to me, those are two competing ideologies that he has to kind of like sort through and figure out, you know. But I'm gonna put it to you like this, right? If maybe this is a question that, you know, needs to be asked or doesn't need to be asked, right? But here's how I look at it, right? If I spend $100 to go see T.I. in concert, right? And it's advertised as he's doing rap, like he's gonna do, like he's rapping, he's doing his hits or whatever, right? And if I get there and if he doesn't do any of his rap songs but just does stand-up comedy and does what I seen him do on the stage, I'll be pissed, right? And that's no shade to him, right? That's not saying he's it's not impressive what he's doing, but I'm about that product. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't pay for that. I paid to see one thing and now I'm getting this, you know? So that's just me. Other people might be glad or be happy that it's T.I. up there and they might be cool with that. And that's them. But I'm just being honest, you know what I'm saying? I've seen him do stand-up live and on the internet, you know, not a lot, but I've seen enough. I'm not gonna say enough. I've seen from what I saw, he's definitely further along in the game than where I was after a couple weeks. I don't know, my career was kind of weird, man. Is the first time I ever got on stage, I fucking smoked that shit, you know, because I didn't know what I was doing. But then, like, when I started to actually take it serious and I really tried to really focus on what I was trying to do, like, I regressed, you know? So me being honest with where he's at now, like from a skill standpoint, like 3 weeks in, or not 3 weeks, but a couple months in, he's further than where I was, you know? He's confident on stage, like he doesn't get rattled, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, great stage presence. You can see him starting to formulate a joke, but it's like he telegraphs too much. So I know where he's going, like before he even starts his next joke, you know what I'm saying? And that's one thing in comedy is with comedy, you want to have the element of surprise, right? Like you want to have the right mix of vulnerability, surprise, you know, all that fun stuff, you know? But like I said before, I mean, his premises weren't really things that I haven't heard before, you know? So when I was watching him, I was like, oh, okay, it's cute. I looked at it like, okay, I looked at like, you know, what he's doing as more of, it's not a diss, but it's like, okay, it's cute. He's just getting started, but there's all this he has to go and cover and figure out. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I hope he stays in the game. I want to see him evolve. I want to see him get better. You know what I'm saying? But like I said before, if I paid $100 to go see T.I. in concert, do his raps, and he said, "Man, fuck my raps. I'm doing jokes, and I'm gonna do what I did for the past couple weeks," I'd be pissed. But that's just me. But what else, man? Let me get off that. You know, I've been on this for a minute. What's next? I want to get into the. Let me get into some DFS talk. That's what we're gonna get into next. Wow. I'm gonna put the 688 back up in a second, but let me talk about some sports. So, I thought I figured it out, man. But nope. So had some luck the day before yesterday. And I did something real simple. I didn't really deep dive into the data too much. You know, I just said, you know what, let me look for players that increase a certain way. You know, and when I did that, I put in $5, won 8. If I came in first place, I would have had 10 racks. You know, so basically I finished in 1,239th place out of about 9,500 people, which is not too bad. Like I said, I won $8. I put up 273 fantasy points, and I was 38.5 points behind first place, who won 10K. So SGA did his thing. He tore it, but I didn't pick him. It was weird. Like, his data set fit into the class of data that I was looking for a player, but I just picked the wrong player. So, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander went off. De'Aaron Fox went off, because I forgot with De'Aaron Fox, with Halliburton getting traded to the Pacers. It's gonna open up that guard spot more, so he has more room to stretch out. You know what I mean? So those were the two guys that got me. Who else? I picked Wendell Carter Jr. Versus Jakob Portal. Jakob, that's a dope name. Jakob Portal. Like, if you see it on paper, his last name is spelled Poetl, but somehow there's an R in that bitch. You know, Portal. So Jakob Portal. So Jakob edged out Wendell Carter by like 2.5 points, and I would have still taken that same bet again because Portal was playing against Memphis, and Memphis is pretty more nasty on defense, and Orlando, I think, was playing Indiana, and Indiana just gave away Sabonis. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, Wendell Carter Jr. is gonna go bang out. So I would pick Wendell Carter Jr. again in that scenario. But this was where I think I made my money, right? Is I knew to stay away from Jarrett Allen, right? Jarrett Allen's a beast, but you have to know when to pick him, you know? So if you look at the data, Jarrett Allen and Mobley, right? Mobley's a power forward center, and Allen is a center. And if you look at the data, when one of those guys go off, the other one doesn't, right? So these guys flip-flop. There was like one game, I think, when they both went off, kind of. But for the most part, you got to pick one or the other, you know? So per the data trend I was looking for, Mobley fit that better. So Mobley actually got me a few more points, and I think that's why I edged up and got the $8. My biggest mistake was Melo. My mind said, man, Dre, stay away from Melo. Just leave Melo alone. You know what I'm saying? Just leave it alone, because he was playing against the Bucks, and he was on a back-to-back, and he put up decent numbers in their previous like 3 games or whatever. So, or I think his data with the Bucks was increasing linearly, you know. So I think he had 3 games, and he was on the 4th game. So I was like, you know, maybe LaMelo Ball is going to try to ball out against the former champs. Nah, he had an average night, and I didn't pick him. So let me actually see exactly what happened. like instead of trying to do this from memory, let me go ahead and try to do this from actually looking at the data, right? So contest, lineups, home, recent. Here we go. There we go. So yeah, so I should have picked De'Aaron Fox instead of LaMelo Ball last night. I mean, 2 nights ago. And then Holiday over Levine. See, the thing I messed up with Levine was I didn't realize that the Heat defense is pretty stingy. So I should have known better than to pick Levine against the Bulls over Holiday versus the Hornets. But you live and learn. This is why we do it. This is why we learn. Wow, man, there's one person in the contest. They took first and second, so they walked away with 13 racks. Damn. One day I'm gonna figure this out. And then last night I kind of did the same thing I did last night or the night before, but it was a 3-way tie. And Luka, man, Luka was lukewarm last night. Even though they won, man, he put up a lukewarm performance, man. Like the first quarter, he was out there banging, but then after that, he just kind of like tapered off. So LeBron was the guy you had to go with. Jason Tatum, that was a weird. I thought now this was the one I messed up on, right? So with Trae Young, he played the Celtics I think 3 times this past season, and if you look at his fantasy points, they're going up in linearly increasing fashion. 3 games. So note to self, when you see that 3 games going up increasingly for or against an opponent, don't mess with it. They gon' figure him out. This is professional sports. They are going to figure him out. So that's where I messed up at. I took Reggie Jackson over Wood on the Rockets. It was a fraction of a point difference, But Reggie Jackson, like I said, it was against Houston. They're not really that nice, so I figured, he would go off. The pick I'm probably the most proud of is my Gary Trent Jr. pick. Excuse me, because Gary Trent Jr., when you looked at the data, you're like, man, I can't pick Gary Trent, man. But then when I looked at something in particular, and I was like, nah, I gotta stick with it. So yeah, Gary Trent Jr. Got me 42.5 points. So that was also what the first place person had. I picked Robert Williams over Cade Cunningham, but I think a lot of my points from Robert Williams got snatched because Jason Tatum went off, kinda. So we live and learn. But I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna figure this out, and I'm gonna find a way to get 10 racks a day. That's the goal, man. 10 racks a day keeps the job away, right? 10 racks a day keeps the jobs away, because this is a good way to segue into this work talk shit, corporate talk, but man, jobs are like titties, or like breasts. Sorry, jobs are like breasts, because we're like babies. We want to get this job, we want to get comfortable, and we suck on the titty to get the milk from the company, and we sit there and just get comfortable, and then instead of the milk nurturing us, we just sit there and sit on a titty all our life, and then when the titty gets snatched out of our mouth, and we gotta go find another job, or we gotta figure out how to make ends meet, we shit out of luck, So my question to you is, what are you building outside of work, right? You gotta be building something outside of work, man, because this work shit ain't gonna last, man. I mean, you may think it's gonna last, but think of all the years that you could have been building something, right? That's my goal, right? And maybe I'm showing my hand. Maybe I should keep my mouth shut and not say shit. Maybe a corporate employee will see this and be like, oh, we're not going to hire him. Oh, well, don't hire me, But I'm always trying to build. I'm in build mode. Like, what can I build outside of work? Like the greatest tragedy is it's not so much getting laid off or getting fired, but it's not building something outside of work while you're working, because the goal is you want to build something outside of work that can make a profit to the point to where you don't need them motherfuckers no more. Like I want to be in a situation where I work because I want to work. And less than 1% of the people I've worked with in my whole career were actually doing that, right? They actually got to a point to where they were doing that. Like I talked to some old cats on my job. It's one old dude at my job. He was like, man, I work here because I want to work here. Like I don't have to work. Like I can just quit today, And that's what he did one day. One day the boss pissed him off and he just didn't even come to the meeting. And we were like, where is he at? And then someone said, oh, yeah, he quit. He just said, fuck it, But yeah, like I just don't like the lifestyle of trading time for money and then having to worry about being cut. Just the constant fear of just being cut. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like living check to check. Well, I'm not living check to check now. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I don't like, man. I don't like I don't like that mindset, man. I don't like that mindset of like hustling for a weekend. You're just hustling, and then hoping you don't get cut. And then when you get cut, you gotta find another job. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think about it, looking for a job, working a job, like dealing with all the bullshit in the job, and then determining when to jump ship, that's 3 jobs in one, right? So I'm trying to just get away with all that shit. And that's why I'm trying to, if I can figure out how to make 10 racks a day, trust me, every 10 racks I earn, that's an extra like 2 months of survival, So, yeah. So if you're in the corporate world and if you like it, more power to you. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I've been in the industry for I've been in the industry for about 15 years, man. And it's not really me. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm still a professional. If I get the job, I get the job done. I do my job very well. But at the same token, like I'm not trying to climb a ladder, Like whenever you go into an interview, the one thing I've noticed is you have to interview the people interviewing you. You have to interview the company, right? So the biggest question the biggest thing I'm trying to figure out is, and the questions I ask kind of pertain or they kind of revolve around this. I'm trying to figure out if they're hiring me I'm trying to figure out if they're hiring me to change the company, or are they hiring me to go along to get along, right? That's what it boils down to. Either you're going to get hired to make change within the company or to go along to get along. I remember I was in one interview, and the key question I asked that determines this, right, is I asked this one question, right? And this is where like you can kind of just, I ask this question and I watch and listen, right? But if you watch, you'll get your answer, right? So what I do is this, right? The question I ask is what do you see, or what will the person that gets this role be doing 1 month after the job, 3 months after the job, or where do you want to see the person that gets this role 1 month after the job, 3 months after the job, a year into the job, 3 years after the job, right? And when you ask that question and they start to fumble around, and it's a go along to get along job, right? Just, okay. It's just know what it is, right? It's, okay. It's just some shit I got to do to get this check so I can go home, right? But if they sit there and they have an outline, like I've never really met or had someone really answer this question, but if they can sit there and say, look, after month 1, we expect this. After month 3, we expect that. After a year, we expect this. Then okay, like that role is pretty serious. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with having a serious role, but at least you know where you stand. Like they're leaning on you to be at those checkpoints. But I remember I asked this question one time in a meeting, and the chick, man, she was like, what did she say? She said, oh, well, it just depends on where you're at. And, yeah, everyone's different. We'll have to assess that. And I'm like, Oh, this is a bullshit job. Okay. Basically, if you like me, I have a job. If you don't, I have no job. Okay, cool. I get it. So end of the day, that's what I'm saying, man. I'm trying to figure this shit out. So I ain't gotta waste my time with that shit, man. Like when it comes to work, I'm trying to be like the privileged middle class kid who doesn't like vegetables. I'm like, man, get this shit away from me, man. Nah, I don't want to eat that. I'm good. But anywho, enough corporate ranting, right? You know, like I said, I mean, if you get a job, if you have your job, do your job well. You know what I'm saying? But just think about, you know, like what are you building outside of work? Because this work shit gonna come to an end. And when it comes to an end, how are you gonna get money? How are you gonna provide for yourself and your family? Food for thought. You know what I mean? What else we got? Let me go and put my ladies back up. There we go. Now let's get into like the heat. Definitely gotta talk about this. If I can find it, here it is. Gotta talk about this, man. This is huge right now. Right? Russia has invaded Ukraine. They trying to take Ukraine back and make it part of the U.S. They're trying to build up the USSR again, right? Because right now it's just Russia. I never knew how that really worked. I knew back in the 80s it was USSR, and then Russia kind of broke up, and then it became Russia, and then now Ukraine used to be part of Russia, and now Russia's trying to pull it back in. So it's kind of like the opposite of the Civil War, I want to say, the U.S. Civil War, because if you think about it, the Confederates tried to break away from the United States and become their own thing. They failed. That's that. Ukraine broke away successfully and became a country on their own. And now Russia's trying to pull them back. You know what I'm saying? So when this first happened, man, I was like, I mean, it's tragic. Like, you know, like just loss of life, young life, fighting, war. Not a fan of that shit. You know, there's always in my book, there's always a way to finesse, right? If I want something, I'm going to try to finesse someone out of it. I'm not going to strong arm someone. I mean, to me, I think strong arming people is a pussy move, right? Like to get what you want, to use violence or the threat of violence, that's a pussy move. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, I'm all about the finesse. Like, how can you finesse someone out of some shit? You know? And that's the question I have, man. Is cause like I said, I'm still learning about this. I don't know too much about it. But my question is did Putin ask for Ukraine nicely to begin with, right? I don't know. I'm not like I said, YouTube. I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just asking questions, YouTube. I'm trying to learn, you know. But this is just what I'm asking, right? Did Putin ever ask for Ukraine nicely, you know? And if he asked for it nicely, did he have a plan to share with the people of Ukraine what would happen if when this becomes Russia, right? And to me, if that was ever the case, then I think that the world missed an opportunity to finesse Putin, right? Because if he asked for it nicely and he had the threat, or there was always the threat of him invading Ukraine, you kind of have to you could have worked out a deal behind a deal behind closed doors with Ukraine and say, look, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we recommend. Just give up your country. You know what I'm saying? I know you don't want to do it, but trust me, for the long term, this is like the best for you guys, right? Give up your country. Let Russia take over. And then right when they do that, the NATO will come in and will levy all types of what's the word I'm looking for? Sanctions against Russia, right? We'll cripple their economy because we don't believe in that, right? So they could have done everything they're doing now and crippled Russia's economy over the years. And then when Russia fell and Ukraine, or when Russia was weak to a point to where Ukraine could say, okay, now we taking our shit back, they could have taken their shit back and then joined NATO, right? But a lot of the problem is right now is that Putin was afraid of the Ukraine joining NATO because it was going to put missiles or put a military too close to Russia, and like he didn't want that. He doesn't want a Russian, or he doesn't want a NATO military close to Russia like that. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I mean, I don't know how all the details got worked out, but to me, like that was a. I'm just curious to know if there was a chance for the Ukraine and the rest of the world to finesse Russia in this whole situation, and they just missed the opportunity, right? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. But anyways, one thing we have learned is that you can't trust Putin, right? Like you can't trust this dude. This dude said he lined up his troops on the border, I think multiple times, and said, "No, I'm not going to invade. I'm not going to invade," and he invaded, right? So he then threatened everyone, like the rest of the world, and said, "If anyone else jumps in and they intervene, I'm going to unleash fury on your country," right? So who's to say that he won't unleash fury on another country anyway? So right now, I think the line has been drawn in the sand. That's basically what the president, that's basically what the State of the Union, that's basically, come on, Dre. That's basically what the State of the Union address was last night. Basically, Biden drew a line in the sand and said, look, hey, we cutting off all resources. We're not really fucking with Russia like that. We're not fucking with you. We're rooting for Ukraine. But you touch any one of these other NATO countries, it's all out war, So hopefully it doesn't come down to that. But I don't know. Like I'm not too optimistic about it. I gotta get a drink. 1 second. Throat getting dry. So what else we got, man? But in addition to this, as things are unfolding with Russia and Ukraine, thing I'm finding out or thing I'm seeing is that racism is everywhere, man. Like what people don't realize is that they think Ukraine and Russian is a race, but it's not. It's a nationality, right? It's a flag. So you have different races that live in. You probably have black people. Like you, if you don't think there's black people in Russia, or if you think Russia's just all white, or if you think Ukraine is just all white, then you're sadly misinformed. So there was I saw a couple tweets, saw some things where saw some articles where the black people or the black Ukraine people, I don't know, what do you call them, Ukrainians, or the black Ukraine people are trying to flee, and they're treating them like shit. The Ukraine people are treating them like shit. And then I remember I read one article where it said there was a black family that was there from, I think, Nigeria or something like that, and she was always saying she praised the Ukraine, like they left. I forgot what country they left, but they moved to Ukraine, and they praised the Ukraine people for being nice to them. Right there, like everybody was nice, everyone was cool, everyone got along. But then right when shit hit the fan, that's when the racism came out. And she said, "Oh, I never experienced anything like this from these." It's like they just flipped on them, So when it comes down to survival, like it comes down to race and racism, So, now obviously, what I'm saying, from the surface, from what I'm seeing right now, and because like I said, I don't have all the information, but from what I'm seeing right now, I want to see Ukraine keep their country. They seem like very passionate people. They're passionate about having a free country and having a democracy and freedom. Like I definitely think they should have. I want to see them keep that. But at the same token, like I want to see them also eradicate racism in their country. You know what I'm saying? And that's not just a Ukraine problem; it's a world problem. But nah, it's that's when it comes to the racism part, man. The one thing I noticed too is I'm watching CNN very carefully, man. Like I said, I don't trust CNN or Fox like that. I don't really trust them like that. A lot of their news is propaganda. But right when Russia invaded the Ukraine, you started seeing all this like kind of like pro-black stuff come up in CNN. You know, like they were like kind of just all the articles were like pro-black, black, 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 blackity, black, black. You know, and to me that's like a dog whistle to black people saying, "Hey man, you know we know that we treat y'all like shit, but we may need your help if shit gets out of hand." And I'm like, man, been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? Been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? Like the biggest problem with blacks in the U.S., right, is or foundational black Americans. I wouldn't even say foundation. I would say that the biggest problem with blacks throughout American history is we always are trying to prove ourselves that we belong. We're always trying to prove that we belong. You know, that's like our common Achilles heel. We're always trying to prove that we belong. And then when something disastrous comes about, we think, oh, if we join in and jump in, they'll treat us better. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, nah, you just fighting to keep the shit that you had before, you know? So, I don't know. Like I said, I feel real weird about like the whole like war talk, going to war. First of all, like I said, the Ukraine thing. That's. I mean, like I said, I want the war to stop. I want it to end. I want Ukraine to keep what they got. I want Putin to chill the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? And I want everyone just to get along, or at least, you know, you stay on your side and you stay on your side. But at the end of the day, that's not my fight. You know what I'm saying? I got other things I'm fighting right now. You know, like I got to worry about me. You know, and I think a lot of times throughout history, you've seen black people say, you know what, we're going to put our troubles aside and we're going to go help other people. And then we go help and then they turn against us or they turn their back on us. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, I'm like, you know, that's not my fight. I hope they win, but that's not my fight. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I stand on it. And we're seeing something very interesting in Ukraine right now, man. I was talking to my friend. He's a big gun owner, you know what I'm saying? Or not just owner, but like enthusiast. Like he knows the laws and just the research. Like it's not just about him going to the range. Like there's a lot of work he does outside of the joint. But I didn't know this, but apparently the Ukraine was the Ukraine had strict gun laws, you know? So I think you could only have a gun that you could keep in the house and that was it. But the funny thing is, with Russia invading, the men can't leave, and now they're giving out guns to civilians or to the men to go fight. And a lot of these dudes haven't really used a gun like that, you know, on a regular basis. Like they haven't really had to open carry. Like they couldn't. Like it's a foreign thing to them, you know. Like there's things you have to do. You have to maintain a gun. You have to know how to maintain the weapon to make sure it doesn't jam on you or do further damage to yourself or people around you unintentionally, you know. And the fact that now they're just going and they're giving out guns and telling them, hey, you got to help us fight. I have two problems with that. One is you're forcing the men to stay. You're giving them a gun, and you know they don't have any military training. So what that translates into is they're gonna be human shield, right? They're gonna be Operation Human Shield, like in South Park, bigger, longer, uncut. If you're in a situation where your country says you can't leave, here's a gun, you got to fight, and you're not part of the military, you part of Operation Human Shield. You know, that means you get in the front and you gonna get killed, and you buy us time so the military can have a chance to regroup to actually win. You know. Then the second problem I have with it is like that's the first problem. But the second problem I have with it is it's like is you've given people basically, it's like you basically have restricted people from practicing something that now they need, and now it's like they're in no shape to go do that, you know. So Biden and the Democrats, as you know, are like super anti-gun. So God forbid we get invaded by Canada or Mexico or any other country and they start handing out guns, because no one's gonna know what to do with a gun. So now it's like I'm in this weird space where I'm like, you know, because here's the thing, right? I'm pro-choice when it comes to gun, if that's such a thing, right? Like I'm I'm kind of on the fence, right? Like my thing is I've never been in a situation where I've had the drop on me. And for those of y'all that know lingo, when someone has the drop on you, that means that you're looking down a barrel and you have to basically do what they say, right? I've never been in that situation before, because I typically, luckily, I would think that, hopefully, I think that I did that because, or I've had those situations because, I'm pretty aware. Like I know how to like kind of avoid certain situations, but it could also be luck, right? So, yeah. So with that being said, man, like it's weird, man. Like I see, like I see. I'm looking at the Ukraine. I'm looking at Ukraine, and I'm like, okay, people not owning guns and not being able to bear arms and practicing bearing arms is a problem, because when shit hits the fan, somebody got to fight. So there's a part of me that's like, you know what? I just want to get basic gun training, get a gun, keep it in my house or whatever, know the laws, and stay up on it. So if I ever have to go defend my property, I can. But on the flip side, this is where I'm gonna lose a lot of people, and this is why it's called Trippin with Theobold. And before we go any further, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend. But this is like the part where it gets kind of trippy or whatever. But I grew up in the church, like went to different churches, different denominations or whatever, and at the end of the day, the scriptures should be the foundation of like religion, right? Or the scriptures should be the foundation of whatever, or not whatever religion, but of like according to the scriptures, there is no Christianity, there is no Baptist, there is no non-denominational, there is no Pentecostal, right? According to the scriptures, right? Because it's not called out in the scriptures, right? The scriptures say strictly to be holy, and that's it. It says it like 247 times, right? Be holy, for your God is holy, right? Or something like that, right? So holiness is what the scriptures teach, right? But a lot of people say they believe in God, but I don't think they believe in God. They probably believe in a higher power, but according to the scriptures, if you don't believe that, if like, I'll put it like this: if you think that the scriptures were just conjured up by some white man, which is like, I hear this argument a lot. A lot of people say, "Oh, the scriptures or the Bible is written by a white man and they're corrupt or whatever, and this, that, and the third." Okay, cool. But when you read that book, no one is that clever to write a book like that. Like that's a clever ass book, because if you read the scriptures, basically, the premises or the premise of it is, or whatever is, God is perfect. God is all knowing. God has always been here. God always was and always will be. You know what I'm saying? God is all those things, right? And if you read that, right, and if you believe in God, then you have to ask yourself, would God let a measly man, or would he let corrupt man corrupt the scriptures to the point to where we don't get the message that he intended? Because if you think that, that means that your God ain't perfect, and that your God isn't all knowing and hasn't been and always won't be or always will be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to, like, at some point you have to make a divide. You have to make a line. You have to choose a side, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I don't believe in God. I believe in a higher power." Okay, well, a higher power could be Satan, right? Because Satan's a higher power, higher than us, So if you think that book was written by man and it wasn't influenced or inspired by God, or if God if you think that, then according to your logic, then you don't believe in God. You know what I mean? So with that being said, if it comes down to war and someone says, "Yo, you got to put a gun in your hand," scriptures clearly say the weapons of our warfare is not carnal, right? So that means that, long story short is, what do you value, right? And to me, the most valuable thing, according to the scriptures, is your soul, right? Because your soul lives on through eternity, like forever and ever and ever, right? Land, clothes, money, flesh, all that shit burns up. All that shit's gonna be done, right? According to the scriptures, God gonna burn all this shit up anyway. So if you're worried about dying for something that is of earthly nature or of earthly things, but you're not worried about your soul eternally, that's a problem. Or maybe it's not a problem. Maybe you guys already know where y'all going and you know what the deal is and you cool with whatever your outcome is. But with me, I'm searching these scriptures. Like I'm still, like I said, so if push come to shove, this is what I'm saying, right? If push come to shove and they like, yo, Drake, man, we being invaded, or you gotta go here, you gotta go fight, here's a gun, I'm gonna be like, I'll probably be like, nope. Give me my Bible. I gotta go to a prison and sit in a prison cell. Cool. Or if you want to throw me out there to be part of Operation Human Shield, give me my Bible. But before you give me my Bible, oh no, I already got my own scriptures. I don't even call it the Bible. I call it the scriptures. But before I go into the battlefield or whatever it is, let me go down. Let me go ahead and go under this water right quick in the name of Jesus. Make sure I'm baptized. Make sure I come out speaking in tongues and all that stuff, and then I'll go on the battlefield, my Bible, my book, and make sure that I know where I'm going before it's all said and done. You know what I'm saying? But according to the book, according to the book, like if I have to go out there with like if I'm allowed to carry a weapon and defend myself, cool. But if I have to go take one on the chin, then I gotta take one on the chin, man. But forever is a long time. Well, forever, how's it work? Forever and eternity are different, right? Forever means within the confines of the earth, right? But eternity is like beyond the earth, right? So if you take from when time first started up until now and divide that by eternity, that shit is zero. So if you don't know where your soul gonna be for the rest of eternity, man, you might want to at least question that, and whatever. Like I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to preach. I'm not trying to tell no one to do something. I'm not trying to scare people in this shit. I'm just telling you how I think, right? This is what I be thinking. That's why it's called Trippin with Theobold. A lot of y'all probably like, man, Dre, you tripping. Okay, fuck it, I'm tripping. But at least I can own my shit. You know what I mean? Anywho, yeah. So that's all I want to say about that, man. Cause like I said, it's a weird situation to be in right now. I feel like history is just repeating itself, right? Like in the beginning was like in the 1920s, 19 teens or whatever, we had the Spanish flu or whatever. There's a pandemic. Right when we came out the pandemic, there's another war, right? War, right? I feel like we're just doing the same thing over again. And there was almost a civil war like 2-3 years ago, or like 2 years ago, right? So I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm just trying to think positive thoughts, and I got to start reading my scriptures. Well, I got to continue reading the scriptures because there's a lot of scriptures I haven't read. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, okay, that's enough of that. So, well, no, one last thing I'm gonna say. Scriptures clearly say, "Save yourself," right? So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to save myself. What else we got going on here, man? I'm gonna talk about. Yeah, let me go hit up on this comedy bump, right? So it's kind of weird. I feel like I should have talked about my comedy bump. Come on, Dre. Like I kind of like stumbled past that and tried to forget, but now I came back. Okay, cool. But I want to talk about this. I should have talked about this like right after I talked after the T.I. Godfrey thing because it would have flowed better. But it is what it is. We flowing right now. It's called Trippin with Theobold, and this is what we doing. So we tripping. I want to talk about so comedians are not elephants, right? Because remember the old saying, how an elephant never forgets? Well, comedians forget all the fucking time, right? That's all they do, except for their jokes. All right, I guess so much energy is put into the jokes and the material that the comics don't really worry about remembering other shit, you know? But I made the mistake early on in my career, comedy career that is, that if you meet a comedian and even if you have a long conversation and you go and do all these crazy things, man, like not crazy things, but if you have some deep conversation that's more than an hour or so, that they'll remember you. And man, like one of the important rules of comedy is comedians will forget who you. I've only met like one or two comedians that are like famous and have a name that remember who I am, like without me having to go and jog their memory and shit, you know. And they'll call me out by name too, which is pretty dope, you know. But I remember the first time I learned this. This was when I made my trip out to LA, right? I went to visit the Comedy Store. And if you don't know anything about the Comedy Store, basically it's a venue. It was owned by Mitzi Shore, who's Pauly Shore's mom. Pauly Shore, I think, owns it now. I don't know the details on that, but there are three major rooms in the Comedy Store, right? There's the belly room, there's the main room, and then there's the original room. So when I first went there, when I first visited LA, like back in 2000, I think it was 2009, 2008. I read it in this book. I read this book by a comedian, and they talked about the Comedy Store and the history. So when I went there, it was like kind of like a field trip, you know? So when I went there, you know, if you go there, basically comedians like work the door with the hopes of getting stage time, right? So you have a lot of people that work the door, and they'll do that with hopes of, you know, getting on stage and then blowing up, you know? But I remember I met this one comedian, and he gave me a tour. Like he gave me and this other dude a tour of the whole store, right? Like just like told us about all the rooms and what happened in each of these rooms, or like there's significant events that happened in some of these rooms, and this is where so and so came, where he stole so and so's joke, and this is this room here, and oh yeah, and this comedian, they're so big that, you know, they'll call up the store, or they'll call up the store and be like, hey, cancel all your shows, I'm coming down, right? And then all the celebs will come down, and Bruce Willis came down in his car, and he got out here, and all of these guys came out, and I was there, and I did all this, and it was like a long, in-depth conversation, man. And asked me where I was from, and we kind of had this conversation. We joked, we laughed, follow each other on Facebook, social media, all that fun stuff. I come back the next year, he's still working the door, and I'm like, oh, hey, man, what's going on, man? Remember me? He looked at me like, man, who the fuck are you? Like, and it's not just like, my bad, or I don't know you. It's like, who the fuck are you? Like, it's like you get the attitude with it, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh, this shit is weird, you know? And then it happened again. I did this show on, what did I do a show? No, I was going out to support this show over at Brea Improv. And there was a comedian that I knew that was a fan of growing up. Saw him on Def Jam, and you know, I was surprised that he was even on the show. I was like, wow, this dude was in movies, and you know, and he's here at the show. Wow, right? So when he came, like a lot of the comedians that were on the show didn't know who he was, and I was like, oh, you so and so, man. Yeah, man, what's going on? Like I was like, yeah, woo, woo, woo. And we started chopping it up, started laughing. I was dropping a few jokes here and there and made them laugh a little bit. Like it was all like a little, it was all polite banter. You know what I'm saying? Nah, it was dope, man. Like I was like, cool. Like I met this dude, man. And then I go to another venue and I'm in the green room, maybe like 3 years later, you know? And then I'm like, hey, so-and-so, what's going on? And he's like, he looked at me and was like, motherfucker, he said, what'd he say? He said, man, how do I know you? I was like, man, you remember Brea Improv, man, you know, on Whoop De Whoop show, and we were talking back and forth, and you said this, that, and that, and we joked about this. He's like, nah, I don't know you, man. Where do I know you from? I'm like, nah, that was it. He's like, and it was starting to get kind of like hostile. Like I could tell he was getting kind of pissed. Like he's like, nah, I don't know you. Like, I'm gonna ask you again, how do I know you? Like, he was getting paranoid. So I was like, I just dropped it. I just left and ran the room. Like, I didn't run out, but I left the room and I was like, okay, I get it. You know? So, like I said, so that's the comedy bump. That's the lesson I learned, man, is just because you meet a comedian at a show, and no matter what you talk about, or no matter like the nature of the conversation, when you see them again, just assume that they don't assume that they forgot who you are, right? So typically, I let people come up to me, and me, I'll even fake it, all right? Like if someone comes up to me that I don't remember, I'll fake like I remember them, and then I'll try to like have the convo go along or whatever and stuff, and then I'll just kind of be quiet and then let the conversation kind of take hold or whatever. And then if I did meet them, I'll go back and be like, oh shit, well, I have to doubly make sure I don't forget this person because, whatever. It's a lot of people in the game, but then again, it's not. But still, it's like, that's what I learned, comics are not elephants, man. And I remember one show, last example, I was in Iowa, and there was a bigger name comedian. They were already at TV credits or whatever. And there was a movie coming out that was getting ready to drop. You know what I'm saying? There was a movie that was coming out. They were starring in it. And the show wasn't well promoted. So and they came in for like one night. So after the show was over, we went into the lounge and watched the NBA Finals. We watched like a whole second half. We're watching the second half of the NBA Finals. We're buying drinks, ordering food, talking shit, like talking about people or whatever, and just like, just talking about the game or whatever and stuff, right? And then when they left out, like they made it a point to see me, to be like, hey man, best of luck to you in the future, yada yada yada, this, that, and the third. He kind of looked at me kind of weird, but it's whatever. And we even took a photo, right? We took a photo and everything, maybe it's like, how long is it? Maybe like 8 years later, right? I know it's a long time. 8 years is a long time, but it's like I saw this individual at an event, and I was like, hey man, you remember me, man, from back in Iowa, and you came and did the show then, and whoop whoop whoop, and we had the NBA Finals, and he looked at me and was like, nah, I don't remember you. I'm like, okay, no big deal, right? So that's what it is, man. A lot of it too could also be on me because I don't follow up that well, but still, it's like, if I hear the thing, right? If I have a conversation with somebody and it's just some high buy shit, I'm not gonna expect that person to remember me. Like I get it, but if you sit down and break bread and there was a situation that led to a circumstance and there's like a whole evening around it, I mean, I'm not gonna forget. Like, yeah, I may have to have my memory jogged, but at some point I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, that's it. So but that's what I learned, right? In comedy, motherfuckers forget. So don't get mad when they forget who you are if you're trying to get in this comedy game. So what do I have coming up next? I got a couple things coming up next. Where am I at? I don't want that. Here we go. What is this? What do I have up next? So yeah, I've totally spaced out on this, but I have a show tonight. So if you're watching this tomorrow, I had a show last night, but I have a show tonight. It's over at Attitude Lounge. It's called Wild Wednesday. Let me make it a little bigger so y'all can see it. Oh yeah, by the way, AT is where it's at on all forms of social media. Follow me. So let me do that again because I feel like I messed up the jingle, right? AT is where it's at on all forms of social media. Follow me, right? So if you follow me on social media, you'll see that I have this up on my Instagram, right? I post all my shows and stuff in my main feed and in my stories. So I have this show coming up tonight. And then what's the next joint? Then after that, this Sunday coming up, I got Sunday Fun Day over at the Hollywood Comedy over on Melrose. So that's on Sunday coming up. Should be a fun time. Like I said, you can go to my Instagram and look for all my shows. And if you want to pull up, pull up. You know what I'm saying? Take these jokes. Take some of these jokes to the face, man. Not some. Take all these jokes to the face. You know what I mean? So I got that coming up. Pretty excited about that. Also tonight, I should have probably made. Let me do it right quick. I wonder if I can do it right quick. How can I do this? 1 second. I should have had this up there. Yeah, I can do it. So I'm not gonna do it. So tonight, virtual chocolate Sundays, 7:00 p.m. virtually. Go to chocolatesundays.com and you can go there to go to the Eventbrite to find out how to get access to the show. It's a fun time. We be in the chat room cutting up. Basically, the virtual chocolate Sunday show is basically it's a way for them to cut down on the waiting list because there's so many people trying to get on that chocolate Sunday stage on Sunday because that stage is fire on Sunday nights. So if you do virtual first impressions, or it's not, I said virtual chocolate Sundays. It's called virtual first impressions. If you do that and do well, or advanced, you probably have like a year wait to get onto the first impression stage. And then when you get on the first impression stage, you, if you do well there, then you'll probably have to wait like maybe a year to get a grad spot. And then if you crush the grad spot, you'll be in the regular lineup. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so if you're not doing anything, come on through tonight. Check us out. Virtual Chocolate Sundays, or go to chocolatesundays.com. I think all the tickets are through Eventbrite. Next episode, I'll have all that situated a little bit better. But like I said before, like, comment, subscribe. If you have something that you disagreed with, or you want more clarification on, or if you want to be a troll, I welcome all comments. So go ahead and Kermit the Frog that comment section, and maybe I'll talk about it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll respond. Maybe I won't. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But like I said before, tell a friend to tell a friend. You look down here. Yeah, right there. Yeah. AT is where it's at on all forms of social media. Follow me. So with all that being said, that's all, folks. I'm out of here. Peace.